how are you getting on with the Habitus?
Yeah, I've been reading today. I've been reading all the abstracts as well for the book, and we've
Okay.
got a lot of a lot of abstracts and not really decolonizing focused.
Yeah.
And I think we need to go back to colleagues and just give a few notes on what to be thinking about now. So I've been looking at that as well. So I've got all my Habitus stuff. I've been looking at. I had a long chat with Sunita earlier in the week as well, and talked to her about where we were. And then I printed off all the abstracts because I can only read them that way. And I'm going to look at, I've printed off the table of content as well, starting to put them into order.
Yeah.
But I really think we're going to have to write some notes back and say, if you're going to be in this section or that section, then you really need to tailor the content much more towards that section, or perhaps put it in a different section. It's not always obvious where they're intended to be.
So that is why what I did was I put a date and a meeting invite in their calendar, so that they can come and then we can have this discussion, what we expect for the full paper development. So otherwise, I know some people may not be there, so we might just have to record that meeting then, and then let them have access to it so that they are all aware that even though the abstracts have been accepted, in the full paper development, they have to have at least some focus on decolonizing entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think looking through them, we can be quite, because we've got all of them and they've only got their own, I think we can be quite clear, quite directing in a way of how to separate the sections out. Sorry, we're having a separate conversation now, aren't we? But it is relevant to anyone who's submitted, making sure that we've got one full paper, for example, that's already submitted, haven't we? So I think it's making sure that if that needs some revisions because it needs a slightly sharper focus, then that would be good. And I don't think we've got as many papers, if any, I can't remember off the top of my head, that specifically address how to research to support decolonization. We might have, around the other side of my desk, we might have a couple, but not as, it's not coming out as stronger focus. Whereas, I think originally we did have quite a big potential section there. So, yeah, I've been looking at that, but also on the Habitus work as well.
But in terms of the table of contents, it doesn't have to be strictly what we submitted.
Yeah.
So it has to now be based on the papers that we have.
It does, yeah, absolutely. And I think if we can get enough papers in each of the sections, but we need to make sure that they are actually addressing, the core theme of the book, and some are really not from the abstract anyway. It's not immediately obvious how they're going to do that, and I just think we need to perhaps nudge them along that line as early as possible and say, the abstract is fine, it's been accepted, but can you please, in the full right, make sure that you pay particular attention to the decolonization narrative. And looking across them, it'd be good to be able to say in this way or that way. So I'm going to carry on doing that. I've skim read them all, but need to look at them in detail and then put them into a potential, as you say, potential table of content that says this is. And the other thing that was going through my head is writing the introduction, just starting to frame that narrative of what it is we're expecting the book to say, and that will help us drive through the help us drive through a little bit on the actual steering of people through the discussion.
Okay, so we're having that meeting on the 18th of October.
Yeah.
So at least we'll have an idea what we want, how we want them to focus their papers, and then we can have that discussion with them on the 18th. So that is the book 2.
Yeah.
Book 3, the abstract submission closed on Friday. So did I say on Friday? Closed on Wednesday. The abstract submission closed on Wednesday for book 3, the digital digital transformation. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other books, and then I'll share the link to the spreadsheet that we can look at it, and then we need to respond for that. The deadline for the full papers for that one, I think it's for a bit further down the line, but I think we need to respond to them to let them know their abstracts have been accepted, and then have the same kind of discussion with them. A lot of them have tried to focus on digital transformation, but most of them are focused on the well-being side of the book. From the abstract that I've seen so far, they're more focused on the well-being side, because the book is digital transformation and well-being. So most of the abstracts that have come through have more of a well-being focus than digital transformations. No submission from the research lab for that book. Julius is trying to prepare one abstract to add. I think I will as well, but there's been no submission from the group, which is okay, because that book is a minimum of 10 chapters, and we have almost 20. Okay. So we're still over what we need, even if we don't get any more submissions. But it's just that I like at least to have a chapter out in all of our books. It's a way of also pushing our own research out. Absolutely. As much as so I will try and put something in, and I'll also give Julius opportunity to put something in if he does want to go ahead with that.
Okay. Just going back to the decolonisation one, I mean, at the moment we will have 30 chapters, 30 proposals. So that's where we wanted to be. It's just steering them. So I think the other one. I think that's in. As long as we can get people moving in the right direction with the narrative, I think that would be fine. That's got plenty. And
that's if all of them do finally submit, because even with the sustainability that we have 40, about 2 people have pulled out now that they cannot do the full development, and that's why I was reluctant to reject any abstract, because at the end of the day we don't know who will or will not submit a full paper. So even though it looks like we have almost 30, not all of them may submit, and that's one of the downsides with edited books. So I think we might just have to see how many full chapters do come in and make decisions based on the full chapters.
Okay. Hello.
Okay, so going. Next thing, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to the BAM conference, which started with Sunita. Sunita, thank you for just bringing that suggestion and saying that people can do whatever they can to make it possible so that our papers can be presented and not be withdrawn. So yes, I have paid for the conference today, and I will definitely be at the conference.
And I will definitely be putting my transfer in. I was away. I was out all day yesterday, and then it's one of those. I need to log in and set you up as a new person, so I can't do it from my phone. I have to be. So apologies, Bridget. It's definitely coming. Yeah, you will have a contribution from me.
I was going to say, ladies, I was going to say, with what's happening with a number of universities, especially like Coventry, I don't think I'm going to get that much funding for conferences. We're just not in a position. So, even in the future, I think it might be an idea that, where contributions can be, we can contribute because someone can go. It's a good idea to, at least for a little while, until universities sort themselves out. So even in the future, I don't mind contributing to a pot where, if people want to go and there's joint papers, I'm okay with that.
So I've been saying because Memina and Khadija to Siona volunteers for helping with the research lab. We normally meet on Fridays just to discuss what needs to be done. And we were saying there in that meeting that this group needs to come to the point where we can sponsor for conferences, and the only way we can do that is that's our YouTube channel. If we can push that channel and we can get 1,000 subscribers, that channel will be monetized, and that money can be put to this kind of use. But it's not easy for one person running that channel. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know how to do that anymore. So if people have recordings that you think you can post there, and share the link with people you know in your network so that they can subscribe to the channel, we can actually come to that point where we can actually pay for people to attend conferences. So that has been my goal. That's why we were like pushing that, so that can be a source of financing the activities of the research lab. But it's not going to be easy unless everyone gets involved. So please, if you can, share the link with people. If you have videos or recordings that you think we can post there, put out there so that we have more videos on the site and then more views, and get to 1,000. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 by this time next year. Then that channel can actually be monetized, and we can cover costs of conference for people from the group. Because the way universities are going, I don't see this lifting in the next 1 or 2 years. If anything, it's going to get worse. When I joined DMU, they were giving us 1,500 for conference. Even that was small. I was complaining then, and that's why I couldn't go for GWO. But this year, they've now limited it to 1 conference per person. So I had to choose between BAM and ISB, and we have more papers in ISB. So I opted to pay for ISB, so that and that's how BAM went out of the window. So please join hands, send it to people you know, let them just subscribe, and we'll be able to start getting something from that to sponsor people to go for conferences. I would love to see you. You're mute. Yeah.
Have you asked me to speak?
No, I said good to see you.
Good to see you. I just kicked out my last student. It was like hour after hour, one student after the other with a dissertation, and it's just really now that I said, oh, I'll be here and then for another week, and then I'm on annual leave. Suddenly, like all the meetings are coming in. Anyway, good to see you. Good to see everyone. In terms of the BAM conference, like any other work that you do, Bridget, for us all, it was a pleasure to contribute as well. And I think you deserve it, and more than we can express here. But specifically in terms of BAM, my question is simply, there was all this confusion about the abstracts being submitted back then on the 28th of February or 1st of March, right, deadline, about the 2 religious entrepreneurship papers.
Yeah.
Are both of them still going to be presented at BAM?
Yeah, because they were both accepted as development paper. So it was not full paper. It was just development paper that they were accepted as. So we will just present them as development paper. And then there are 2 full papers that were accepted. One from Chioma, which I'm also part of, so I'll present that, and Sunita's paper as well. So essentially there are 4 papers to be presented at BAM.
In terms of the religious entrepreneurship papers, who is going to present those?
I will present both of them.
So you will present both of them? Sorry, the acoustics is just so bad.
Yeah, I will present both of them because there's no one else going. So Tabitha is going, but she's only on one of the papers. So so she might present that one. So which means I'll present one and then present Sunita's paper and Chioma's paper.
Now, there's a difference between the papers with the abstracts which were submitted for BAM and ISB, right? And the question is, who shall contribute to what in terms of the presentation?
I don't understand.
The authorship between the BUM submission and the ISB submission has changed. That there were different people who were named for the BUM religious entrepreneurship papers and then for the ISB ones, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now for the BUM presentations, will still the same people who were named and participated with BUM still contribute to the presentation? It's important just also for CVs and all the rest of it, right?
Also, I'm not changing the way it was submitted. That's the way it's going to remain. I'm not changing anything there. The way it was submitted is the way it remains. Where there will be changes is when we submit the full paper to ERD. Because as it is right now, people are not contributing. So even though a lot of names are on the papers, they're not contributing anything. So I've posted on the WhatsApp group to say the papers are due to be submitted in September. As I speak with you, no one has contacted me to say, what do we do? So Julius has taken the pains to write, is writing most of it now. And as of now, that's one of the papers I was looking at today. So I was going to go and send that now to Joan. Joan was not in the original submission, but I'm adding her now because I need her to help me sort out some parts of the book. So names are dropping off. Definitely. I'm not going to force people to write papers. I know people are excited when the topic comes, I want to do, and they don't contribute. So we've been doing that before. Somebody just write the paper and it puts everybody's name. It's not helping anybody. So we're going to change that. So even though the names have been submitted in BUM and ISB, the final paper will only get the names of the contributors.
Absolutely. I totally understand that. Absolutely. And I would be doing the same if I were you, right? I'm just thinking now about the immediate one, which is the BUM. And also,
I can't change the name. Unfortunately, we cannot change any names now. So it's got to remain the way it was submitted.
But if the names are still the same, the question is whether you want to have help even for the presentations yet. No,
they didn't get funding to go. So anybody who's there, I'm happy for them to present, but most people did not get funding to go. That's why this contribution was made.
Yeah. But if someone like you and Tabitha go, like let's say for religious entrepreneurship A, but there are still 3 other names there, it would make sense to me, even for the BUM conference, that those other 3 names can also contribute to the presentation. I'm talking about the design of the presentation.
PowerPoint. Sure.
Right?
Sure, definitely. But I can tell you, Regina, nobody will respond. I've put that message a few days ago, and I said that we're racing against time to finish that paper. There's been no response from anybody. The data has been collected now. I want to start analyzing data. I'm calling the 2 guys to help with the data analysis, but no one is responding. And I cannot chase people like this, so I'll do the best that I can.
I just want to make sure that I can contribute where I can contribute, right?
Yes, please.
And also make sure that it's not just landing on your shoulders, right? Because I know the stupid ethics application in Forma has been a pain in the backside here with Liverpool, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to be collaborating with you, etc., etc. So, but I also think you need to be discerning who contributes. And
that's why I said that the final submission to ERD will be based on contribution. And that's really the main impact. That's the one that is more impactful. These presentations are not going to be published. But it's now
nevertheless, it's a privilege to have, depending on the stages of the career, imagine you are PhD students, if you can say that you had a paper presented or co-authored, presented, even if it is an extended abstract at BUM, it's better than nothing, right?
Yes. I've put it out there in the group. You saw when I put it out. I've had 2 meetings now with Habitus group and the sustainability group. The religious entrepreneurship, not a single word has come from anybody to say, what do we do? At what state have we collected data? What can I do? There's been no reporting. So Julius has been writing them gradually by himself, so he's almost developed one fully. We just want to, I'll send the theory to you, June. The one that we're going to use, wicked problem, we've changed that to, I think, Pentecostal ethics. We found a theory that they call Pentecostal ethics. So I'll share that with you so that you can see, but I think that's where we might likely go. So also the paper has now been refocused on capitalism. So we're looking at it, instead of a wicked problem, we're looking at it as a fusion of Pentecost, religion and capitalism. So that's now how we're refocusing the paper. So the wicked problem bit has been taken off. And but again, that is also in preparation for ERD. So we just need to finish, because ERD is a 3-star journal. If you have an opportunity to submit to ERD, why not take the opportunity? So we're going to still do it fully. And so if the ethics problem is not, if the ethics is not a problem for you and you still want to be part of it, by all means. But that's now the new focus of the paper, which I'll send to you, June, so that we can tidy up the theoretical bit while I'm doing the data collection, the methodology. But the data collection has been completed. We have 150 respondents.
Oh, wow, that's good.
We could not achieve 500, which was the target, but we do have 150. And I'm a bit concerned about Kwame. Kwame is the one who said he would do the analysis using SEM, but I think he uses someone else. So, and also I've said, because if I have to do the analysis, we need to meet to see what are the variables we're testing and all that. I still haven't had any of that feedback as well from them. So we might just settle for simple regression, what we can do without having to depend on people outside. So that's the direction that the paper is, that's what it's looking like now, but it needs to be ready. November is, once teaching starts, no one is going to have time again. So this is an opportunity for us to finish this paper now.
I mean, at the moment, I'm only down for dissertation module from September onwards. And so I was hoping that, I will have a lighter first semester in comparison to the last semester, which was like quite something. But 4 people have just left from our group, and including 1 entrepreneurship and 2 IB people. So I've got a meeting with my director of education, like associate head of education next week. And let's pray, this should not be recorded, that I will not be landed with more modules. Because I was like,
yes, that's the problem. All right, Sunita, your hand is up.
Yeah, my hand's up. I was just referring back to the presentation. Bridget, shall I do the slides, or do you want to do them because you're presenting them? Shall I put them together, the ones for?
Yes, please. Even if you put them together, I'm sure I'll still be able to present it because you wrote the paper.
Okay.
So it was more of your work. So.
Okay, and the other thing was the message you sent out. I know I'm on one of those papers, but I couldn't remember which one. So
Habitus. You are in Habitus.
The only one. Oh no.
Yes. No, that's not the only one. You are in degenerative affordance. I didn't put it. I forgot. I don't know why. Yeah. So you are in 2 papers, Habitus and degenerative affordance.
Right.
So we need to meet. We've met for Habitus.
We haven't met for the other one. Can we meet for the other one so I know I'm on track then?
We haven't. I will send out a meeting invite. It's me, you, June, and Omo.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
And the ethics for that one has been a headache. That's also why I haven't met with you. They kept coming it back. And so I got frustrated. I told them, I said, I'm going to ask you or June to apply in DMA Coventry because I'm tired of the process. And then they came back and said, oh, no, we'll just do this one bit and we'll approve it because they don't want it to wait to Coventry. So I think hopefully the approval will come on Monday because I haven't started collecting data for that, which is also a setback. For the religious entrepreneurship also, remember we said we're interviewing 20 pastors. Yeah. I've had to pay for them to do the interview for me. So I just sent out the money today to South Africa and Nigeria. So they're already doing the interviews. So again, we still need time to analyze the data. So it would be great if all the write-up could have been done so that when the data comes, then the focus is only on analyzing data.
Okay.
Yeah. Tolu, your hand is up.
Well, no, mine needs to come down.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone's saying something. Oh, yeah. So someone was talking.
No.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask if there has been any meeting on the religious entrepreneurship,
No,
because
I was waiting for responses to my message on that
right.
WhatsApp group, and
Yeah.
that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I did like what I saw the message, but I just saw you were
Yeah.
reminding us, oh, we have 5 weeks
Yeah.
to get,
Yeah.
because I've been working with Uri on the
Yes.
theory.
Yes.
So I know we've done a bit in July, but we've not chatted in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been working on it. So I was just wondering, probably there's been a meeting and I didn't
No.
receive that notification. Right. Okay.
So we can agree now today on a meeting date, and I can send out the invite for that.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Because time is, we really don't have much time. This is August now. We really
Yeah.
don't have much time, and I will not be able to be writing and trying to analyze data as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the qualitative data is interviews. I need to transcribe all of them, 20
Right.
of them as they come in. So that's time consuming, transcribing and coding. So chasing up the writing now becomes very, very problematic for me if I have to write, transcribe, code all at the same time.
Right. Okay.
I was going to say, Bridget, can anyone help you with that, or is there a?
Yes, yes, anyone, any volunteers, please.
If we
20
each did,
interviews coming in.
if we each did 3 or 4 or 5, just
Okay.
break the load a little bit. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll distribute the audio recordings as they come, please. As for the quantitative data, I just need somebody who knows how to do statistical analysis. With JISC, we can have very basic analysis, which is a descriptive bit. You can do some cross tabs on JISC, but you can't do regression on JISC. So if someone knows how to do regression, I can export the data on Excel, and then they can transfer it to SPSS and then just do the regression. But I don't know how to do that. That's why we're depending on Kwame and Eric, but I've not been able to get hold of either of them.
You can do a regression analysis on Excel as well.
Okay, that's if you know how to do it. I have
Gosh,
no
I did
idea.
it as a student. I did tons of statistics, but if it's only a regression analysis, one should be able to do it on Excel. It's all the other statistical and more complicated stuff, which then people probably will say like, oh, why didn't you use SPSS and all the rest of it? And I can't help with that. I'm honest about it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, James.
Yeah. It's been a while.
You've been missing in action.
I'm very busy, but now I think I have about a month or so.
Okay.
So in terms of analysis, I think I can step in and help with that one. So if the data is available and you can just export it to Excel, just send it to me.
Okay.
The variables and then talk about it.
Okay. All right. I will rather meet with you, please, so that you can look at the way, because I noticed that with the other paper which we did, Ubuntu, I collected that data when I was still in Coventry a long time ago, but we're just wanting to finish that paper now. The way the data was exported, it was exported with the what people wrote. And I understand that when you want to run the analysis, you can only run them with numbers. So you need to look at the data and advise me how to dress up, or is it data cleaning? Is that what they call it? What they call it? When you receive your data, you clean the data, is it?
Just cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes. So you might need to look at the spreadsheet and then tell me how to clean it up so I can send it to you.
Okay, it's just normally if there are empty spaces, you just have to find the means and then
Okay.
Instead the means. Sometimes just put zeros, depending on which statistical tool that I'm going to use.
Okay.
So the software is also a determinant of how the data should look like.
Okay.
So when you bring, like when I see the data, I'll be able to, we can discuss which to use zeros or to use the mean.
Okay.
And then we'll just talk
about it. I'll send that to you tonight. Thank you. And then I'll send you the literature that has been written so that you can see what the paper is about, so that you're able to know how to run the analysis.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, there's so many hands up. Joan, you were about to say something, and I've received your payment. Thank you, Joan.
I was distracted. I was trying to do that in the background.
Thank you. Okay, what else? Regina, sustainability book. So we need to do what Joan is currently doing now. Joan is already doing the table of content for the Palgrave one, but the sustainability one needs to be done as well, because both deadlines are the same, 30th of September.
Shall we set a meeting this weekend?
Yes, this weekend.
I'm happy to meet this weekend, because then it's focused and we can just go on. I think that's the easiest. Okay.
Okay. I'll send you a meeting invite tomorrow or Sunday.
Tomorrow or Sunday. Just let me know what suits you best. I think between 3 and 4 I might be taken. I've got something on, but I've got it at home. But I will let you know if there's a clash. Okay. But other than that, I'll be partly working, partly a domestic goddess at home.
Okay.
I like that idea. I think being a domestic goddess sounds blissful.
Yes. I also need a volunteer. If somebody knows how to do Excel very well, our tracker, we're stuck. I cannot add any new information to the tracker because I took an existing file and I edited it. So I'm stuck. So if anybody knows how to design a good, better tracker for us, I really appreciate, so that we can track all our projects. There's a lot not on the tracker now.
Okay, I didn't hear what you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, our project tracker. I don't know how to add any more information to it. It's not allowing me. So we might need someone who knows how to use Excel to help us transfer all of that information to a better template that we can use to track our projects going forward. So if there's any volunteer, I really appreciate that.
I can ask Denise, Dad. Denise is she's like me, not quite twiddling her thumbs. I'm certainly not twiddling my thumbs, but she's between posts at the moment. Yes, please. And so she can turn her hand to Excel in a heartbeat. And I won't push, but I'll ask her if she wants a little project.
Okay.
And see if she takes the bite.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Because she can give us some pivot tables as well, so that we can do some searches.
Yes.
It's the sort of thing she absolutely eats alive, loves it. So I will certainly ask. I'll see whether she feels like it.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. James, your hand is still up. You still have a question?
Is my hand? Oh, James. No, mine isn't. Yeah, mine's not up.
Yeah. It was up ago, but I think I've already said what I had to say. So.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, guys? So we still have one more book chapter, the Emerald one, the one from GWO last year. We're still waiting for that approval. I will chase it up now. I tried chasing it up, but Kingsley was on leave. But he's back now. So I'll chase that up. So that's another opportunity for people to contribute. There's not been a lot of contribution coming from the group. Please, it's an opportunity to get your chapters out. The ones that you're struggling to get into a journal, book chapters are not as rigorous as journals. This is an opportunity. Take advantage. I'm amazed at how much contributions we're getting from outside the group. So when we say we need 20 chapters, we get 40. When we say we need 10, we have 28. So people outside are really sending their contributions, but people inside are not. Yeah. So it doesn't benefit this group if all our books are published and we don't have any contribution in it. So please, you can collaborate with anyone. You can come up with an idea and there'll be people who will be willing to collaborate with you in them so that we can get our publications up. In case you haven't heard, a lot of universities are beginning to put people on redundancy. So, and it's going to continue. What stands you apart from other applicants is your research. Even the universities that say they're teaching focused, when you put in your application, they want to see how much research you've done compared to other applicants that are coming. This is not a doomsday cry. It's the reality of the situation now. So I think I called Sunita last week. Julius went online and he got a printout of universities in danger. Coventry was number 6 on the list of 20 universities in danger. Even Lincoln and Lancaster, which we know they are good universities, are in danger. And the report says some of them might even have to merge to survive or cut down some departments and lay off a lot of staff. So please, it's time to get our research up so that you have an advantage when the field becomes so saturated, when universities are laying off. So a lot of applicants will be applying for the same positions, and your research will set you apart from other applicants. Don't take it as a joke. Don't be too comfortable where you are. There's been a shaking in higher education. Higher education used to be the most stable profession before now. It's not so anymore. It's not so anymore. So don't take my word for it. Do your research and see yourself.
Look, I can tell you from first hand, my job's just gone. So, you know, and half of the heads of school are being removed from Coventry. We're losing of 12 heads of school, we'll be down to 8 or 7. Depending on how many mergers they go through. So they're merging our schools, and that just doesn't mean merging schools means getting rid of staff. I didn't apply for the job that they offered, but I'm still, you know, as Bridget said, it's really tough at the moment. So, and you know, I would consider myself research active with all sorts of things, but it's a different scenario. I think we've got to take a very proactive approach to self-preservation. Yeah. And I really envy when I see some colleagues who are in overseas universities getting lots of opportunities to travel and go to conferences, and we're just not in that position at the moment. So now on the subject of the Decolonising book, I'm going to put in I would welcome collaboration on that, which is looking at structures and definitions around decolonisation. So when I get that abstract, if anybody wants to work with me on it, I'll put it on the chat and you can have a look and see if you want to, you know, join me in doing that one. More than happy to have a contributing another voice in there.
Be nice to have a voice from the Global South in there as well, right? Just to clarify, is it just on decolonising or decolonising education or decolonising entrepreneurship education?
It's decolonising entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all, we're looking at all aspects of the decolonising narrative, really. And I think, and if I'm honest as well, I think we've got some gaps there. I think people have become very focused on certain definitions and prescriptions, and it may be if some people don't provide chapters, there's an opportunity to sort of fill the gap. So when I've done the mapping properly and the table of content and gone through the details of the chapters, it may well be that we've got a gap that we're really not addressing, that we really ought to have some representation in there. So I think the sooner I can get that done and come out to this group, I think the better. If anyone still has something that they want to contribute, or something that's in development that can be developed in time for the submission.
Yeah, Elena has just put in that she'd like to look at that with you as well.
Okay, absolutely fabulous. Yeah.
So even though the deadline has closed, because it's from this group, we are still willing to accept. Yeah. So please consider putting something as quickly as you can. The deadline for full papers is the 30th of September, obviously. Sorry, 30th of September. but we can give extensions. Obviously, there are lots of people who might come back and say, oh, can I get a little bit of extension here and there? We'll have to accommodate them. But the overall target is that we need to deliver the book by the 31st of December to Palgrave. So we need to deliver out. So we shall have done all the revisions by the 31st of December and it's over. So at least you have this published by first quarter of next year, which is good. If you have contributed to all of the calls, which will be 4 by the end of August, then you would have had like 4 chapters published in 2025 alone. So please don't take it for granted. It's an opportunity. It's a good opportunity for everyone. If you haven't done anything on your own, ask people who have submitted if you can join them. It's not too late. If 4 people are doing 1 book chapter, all you have to write is 1,500 words each. That's not a lot. If 4 of you are doing 1 book chapter, okay, because we're looking at 6,000, 7,000 words. So 4 people, between 5,000, to 7,000 words, if 4 people each contribute 1,500 words, you have your chapter ready. Don't take it for granted, please. Look at all the calls that we have. If you still see room for you to put something together, let us know. It's closed, but we will still accept it.
And I think if people, sorry, Regina, I just think if people who have already got chapters in who were working solo, who would benefit from a collaborator, that may be a book that might fall by the chapter that might fall by the side of the road, but could be salvaged if someone had a little help.
Yes.
Yeah. So sorry,
Regina.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I have been fairly quiet and saying like, oh, I want to commit to this chapter or that chapter has simply been because I know that within the month of September, it is unlikely that I can write 4 chapters, right? And it's a different thing if we say by end of December. And because I think, whether it's decolonizing entrepreneurship education, we've talked about it for a while, but I think it is super important, or decolonizing entrepreneurship also, whether it's taking into account the indigenous knowledge in the Amazonas or entrepreneurship in the slums of Brazil. It's super important and it's close to my heart. But then I need to be realistic and see, okay, what can I actually deliver in this time, right? Now, if there's overlap with others, or depends on the length of the book chapter and the format, whether it's a prescribed format, I might be able to rewarm something up about Afro-Ragi and like one of the organizations do a case study, present a case study as a book chapter or so. But I was just really fearful of being just overcommitting and then not being able to deliver, right?
Yeah. The last 2 book chapters I've done, I've written the bulk of it, but we've had case studies from people who've just written the case study part and then wrapped it around everything. And we did that with the International Entrepreneurship book, didn't we? We focused on Nigeria as a case study, but wrote lots of things around it, and the same with one on apprenticeships. So if we can get the case study, that gives a real focal point to ground it, and then can be wrapped around. So I think just calling on what Bridget said, I think we've got to be much more savvy and flexible, and in helping ourselves and each other, haven't we? To make sure we get these things done.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your encouragement again. I think that's something which, rather than what we most hear is like, oh, everything research doesn't matter and you should focus on teaching. So the 2 of you, Joan and Bridget, you are so good in trying to encourage and push us to continue doing our research. So I don't take that for granted at all, that you are so positive and supportive here. So big thank you to both of you.
It's a nightmare. I think we all recognise. Sorry, I keep jumping into it, but it's a nightmare. And this is the first time, in my working life, I've actually had some time to think, and I'm determined to use it productively between having, before not having time to think again. So, I think that's I've been carried at certain times and now I can carry a bit. So I think it's just a give and take, isn't it, really? And now I'll shut up.
Yeah, no. That it's just funny enough, for some people it's like I don't know how, but they just feel like the teaching is more important than the research. So I think it's the state of mind that people are, or where they are at the moment. Some people allow teaching overwhelm and feel that teaching is more important than research. And then, okay, recently in DMU, for instance, they set up these research groups, just like you have CBIS in Coventry.
Yeah.
So they set up 4 new research groups. And now staff, you have to apply to be a member of a research group. And so people have applied. And I actually took it for granted that everyone who applies, it's like a right. You're teaching, but you have to also do research. So I actually felt that asking people to apply is just a formality. That once you just apply, you'll just be given. And only for me to be hearing from colleagues that they were denied the opportunity to be there, and they were being told, oh, even though you've written a few book chapters, is not enough. You don't have this within your own school.
Yeah, and I think
did you get your time?
I did get, when I got mine, I was very offended that I even had to apply in the first place, because I felt it didn't make sense that automatically when you join the school, you should be in a research center. So asking us to do that. So the day I received it, I was so offended. Julius came back like, why are you offended? I said, I don't understand. This is not supposed to be a privilege. Yeah. It's supposed to be a right. Only for me the following week to now hear that my friends did not get it. And so it got me thinking, why did I get it? Simply because I have a few research out. Mm-hmm. So if I didn't have
are you associate or full member?
I just applied for associate. I didn't want any stress. So I applied for associate. So I got what I applied for. But a lot of people applied for the associate and didn't get it in your own school. So what sets you apart from other people outside of your school then? So that's why we need to take this serious, please. These are people who have dedicated themselves to teaching, getting good reviews on their modules, making the students happy. And then you turn them back because you say, oh, you did not do research.
I know. That's what I've focused so much on teaching for so long that and then didn't see the promotion capacities. And then I thought, like, okay, even if it is slowly, I need to pick it up again. Yeah. And also, I think with AI, so much will be taken on from teaching and marking that in the end, it will come down to the research-intensive universities, the few, the privileged, the elitists, etc., and then the apprenticeship ones, which again can be very good, and the rest will be a run-of-the-mill, download your own AI-produced module from LinkedIn or from whatever, right? Yeah. And do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So please, yes.
And we are too young. We are too young to sit back. That's the thing, right? We still have to work to earn our pension.
We still have to. Please don't take the research as not as important as the teaching. They are both equally important, please. They're both equally important. Okay, so that's me. I'm done talking.
Just to add, though, I think, in the last couple of universities I've worked in, they've all gone this way eventually, whereby they take research away from teaching, and teaching becomes the breadwinner. And they don't want colleagues distracted by research, and so research hours are cut. And I think, for example, we've always supported 1 semester free teaching, so that colleagues could, even if they were dissertation supervising, they could support research. I think those days are gone this year. I think it's going to be potentially 3 semester teaching, which that's mind-blowingly challenging for any of us.
So we still have to find time even in that space to do our own research, because I see research as a personal development thing now, because that's not the focus of the university.
Exactly.
So I see it as a personal development thing.
Miriga,
yes.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Riga Furi. I just wanted to tip in on the research aspect you were talking about, which already you've said something about it as it's a kind of a personal development. And basically, I think as university teachers, we have three major roles, which is teaching, research, and then community service. And over the time, I've seen that the third one, talking about community service, is not something we are really engaged in. But of course, with that research, like it's often said, either you publish or you perish. Without research, just like I don't see any difference between you and the I need to use the word maybe ordinary classroom teacher. That research, it's just like they're just a very classroom teacher. So this is a very good opportunity. Like just me joining in last month, I'll be able to. I got the opportunity of these two chapters, the book, which of course we'll send in the abstract, and hopefully we're hopeful that we can be able to do the other part of it and get something like you said by next year. We'll know that at least we've got something for a chapter in the book. And then I saw other adverts also coming in and all that. This is a kind of a community that we all need to encourage ourselves and see how we can build on all these opportunities to be ready for the future, which of course we don't know what the future has in place at the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meriga. Thank you. Yes, Regina, your hand was up.
I just wanted to emphasize how research-informed teaching really will set us apart from those who do teaching only and have never done research. I saw the difference when I moved from Loughborough to DMU, that there's some colleagues who do some really nice teaching, but it is not necessarily research informed, and hence how you stretch students and how you help students develop to think in abstract critical terms rather than just coming up with some descriptive solutions, immediate solutions, is limited. And I think the good thing about being able to think in models and frameworks is that you can then apply it even critically, but you can replicate it and scale it and understand the limitations. So we can also really develop students quite differently and offer them a real different insight. I mean, that they are not thrown into the complex world and each time just have to revisit and analyze and make sense of it, but they have got some tools, some frameworks which allow them to make sense more quickly and see it more critically. So it is so important, not just for us, but also for the students that we educate, right? And I think with all the noise outside academia, and misinformation and populist headlines, etc., it's all the more important that we develop critical thinkers of students amongst our students. That doesn't mean negative thinkers, yeah? It's just like, okay, we understand the limitations of what is given to us, and how do we make sense and how do we develop a solution, and how do we also get students to think beyond the short-term, immediate personal gain, but understand the implications on other parts of the society, other societies, the long-term implications, all of that. And that is more likely to be taught by people who are more research active or at least interested in research. Some of us, like I'm terrible in producing and writing, right? Because, sorry, that shouldn't be recorded either. I love reading, I love editing, and just seeing the blank paper in front of me is just absolutely horrible. But I one of the fab things of being in academia is that you can actually research, that your curiosity has got like you're in the right space to be curious and to try to learn more and understand more. Why wouldn't you just then share it, right?
Yeah. Joan, you're next.
You've just given me another idea for a paper, Regina. It's called, I've just written the title down. Paradoxes, priorities overcoming the challenges of research-enriched teaching. I think we could do a multi-institutional study, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
count
be
me in? Count me in.
Count me in big time here as well.
It's your idea. I just borrowed it.
You put it down nicely.
Yes.
Paradoxes and priorities overcoming the challenges of research-enriched teaching. All critical. They want. They deny.
Yeah.
You can't have it. It doesn't work. Yeah. You can't balance it all.
Yeah.
And I think if we put a paper together with our critical faculties ourselves to explore these paradoxes and challenges, I think if we could capture some data from a number of institutions about how people feel, it could be really, quite useful, couldn't it?
Yeah.
The challenges and how they overcome it. One for next year, but I think one we could think about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I can really contribute to the feeling of that.
I think there's plenty written around in our WhatsApp chat groups, particularly if you're a union member.
Yes,
it's littered with feelings about that. But it's a question again how we frame it, whether we frame it as personal experiences, right, and the complexity and how we navigate that successfully or unsuccessfully, and just we need to find the right lens about how to portray it. Otherwise, it's yet another rant.
I don't think it needs to be another rant, does it? It needs to be the collective wisdom, even of the people within this community. It could be an also ethnographic sort of little vignettes of what I've done, what I haven't done, how it's worked,
and how we encourage each other when we are. Like one has got a teaching semester there and the other then, and during different phases of our lives and with our different skills and what we find easier to do and how we manage that then as a team, that could be interesting as well.
Okay. Yes, James, your hand is up.
Okay, so what I think about this teaching research combination is that I don't think that was the initial intention of the educational structuring. It might be maybe this not new idea, but this idea of publish or perish syndrome that has come in the academia. I believe that lecturers who infuse research, like whose ideas are research-based, become more productive and are able to enforce what is being produced outside of the classroom and then infuse it into their teaching. That is supposed to be what like a lecturer is supposed to be made of, like being able to practicalize like what has been researched into the classroom. But combining like being a lecturer and being a researcher at the same time become a very, very difficult, and it doesn't allow you to produce at your best because you are time constrained. You're trying to produce a high quality research, publish in a high quality journal, but at the same time you also have students who are giving you so much. You have to also read other researchers' work just to be able to teach them and give them the best of yourself. How do you balance this? That is the main problem, and this is the problem we, like in the research community, caused for our own selves. It's just like it's more like internal competition, and this has enforced the leadership also to accept that if you're not able to balance these two, then you are not qualified enough to be in the university, and that shouldn't be the case. So this is like I think more of an institutional flaw, and this institutional flaw is based on ourselves. We kind of made this system up, and that is how we are suffering from what we have created. So we created a problem, and the leadership has taken over this problem, and then we are suffering and trying to catch up with what we have created already. I believe that the lecturer should be able to focus on the research that's been produced, learn, and also just give it back to the student at the same time. But it's left to us to fight this system that we have created ourselves. That is what I think. I don't think it's supposed to be the lecturer's job to be both a researcher and then a lecturer. But we have created it already, and it's difficult to back out of this.
Yeah, but if you say it's not a lecturer's job to be both a researcher and a teacher, then there's no room for research-informed learning or teaching anymore. Because one of the things that makes you an academic or a scholar is your research, not just the teaching. So if you go to deliver knowledge that has already been developed by other people, like you have no contribution to knowledge, it just makes you redundant. You'll be more like the professors we have in Nigeria that have not done any research in 20, 30 years.
Okay, so the difference between the researcher in, for example, in Nigeria, Ghana, and other African countries, and that of all the lecturers in those countries is lack of research in based teaching. For example, I had a lecturer who had, I think, 3 sets of exams, and he gives it like he rotates this kind of questions, and he has been doing it for almost 10 years.
Yep. Yeah.
So in
20 case, years, 30 years.
There is no innovation. So it's repetitive learning, and that is what is being discouraged. That is what is supposed to be discouraged.
Yeah.
So lecturer is able to infuse current understanding. I had a lecturer in my university who I never had. I had read a lot of business books and never heard of the Sinafin model. But this guy, one day, he just came and said and he always come in with something new. He never does any research. He has no paper. But every good new system out there, he brings it up in the class. And it's it interests us to also go and look at what is happening every time. And that is the work of a lecturer. If you are able to write and not infuse what you have written, you are also not doing anything at the end of the day. Because if you are not taking some new ideas to infuse in how you do your everyday stuff, then what are you doing? Even if you have written the paper by yourself and you are not able to infuse it in your own teaching, then there's nothing. So at the end of the day, it's up to us if we are able to take what is written from outside. Now, like yesterday, I was reading the Harvard Business Review, and they are talking about how the most important thing in business now, which has been the knowledge, which is more productive than any other. And I was actually having a conversation with a friend talking about why Africa is probably where they are, where we are, because of we're not valuing people with knowledge, but always trying to nepotism and all those kind of stuff, or people who are paying bribes and all this kind of stuff. That is being able to learn what is currently out there and implementing it in our current situation in the classroom. That is supposed to be the work, and it is also novel in its own respect, changing what is in the classroom now. But if we keep on writing and are not able to infuse it, and the student keep on learning what is old, and we don't even have time to give them new tests, then I don't one thing I realized in Germany also is that because every state, every city have got a kind of a research. And this research, I was working in a research lab in Regensburg, and always they are all in the research lab. The researchers are always in the research lab. If they will teach, it is just one course in the whole week, or maybe 1 or 2, but it's always in the research lab. And those who are in the classroom, they have so it's separate, completely separate. And
I think that is also how the way it is in Harvard and all those big institutions that have a lot of funding, Cambridge, they have a lot of research funding available. So I think most of the people who do research don't do as much teaching as the people who don't do research. Maybe that is a model, but these other schools that want to eat their cake and have it, they want you to do a lot of the teaching and also do a lot of the research. And unfortunately, all of us cannot work in those schools that have those kind of funding. So we're stuck in this system that has been created, and you just have to fall in line. So it's what is there, is the way it is, unfortunately. But I agree with you, it should be separate, because research is time consuming, teaching is time consuming. Each of them on their own require different approaches. But when you put them together, then one suffers. It's either you do more of the teaching and the research suffers, or you do more of research and your teaching, you begin to have problems with the school because of your teaching. So
okay, as researchers, did we realize this change? And what was the cause of this change?
Yeah.
Like, because probably in like 50 or 30 years ago, it wasn't like that. So why was the change?
It's the business model of the schools. That's what I'm saying. They want to eat their cake and have it. They need students. Students pay school fees. The schools that don't have funding don't bother about school fees. Those are the schools that they give you enough time to do your research. You have all these professor emeritus them. You have all these research centers, a lot of them. Like you're talking about research lab. How many of our schools have research lab? Do you have in Liverpool, Regina? I don't know about DMU. We don't have any research lab. Coventry, we did not have. We did have CBs, which is people who are doing more of the research. But it was not like, even with the CBs people, they still teach, or they reduce teaching. Yeah, so I think it's the money that drives the model. You have to be profitable. So it's not just about education now, it's also about profit making. And I think that's where the model changed.
Government priorities, because one thing I realized living in Germany is that, like, because they don't even pay fees, but they are able to build research lab in every other state.
Yeah, but you forget that government in Germany is still investing in education. UK is no longer like that. A lot of countries are no longer like that. It's private funding. So the universities are privately funded. So they operate differently from when government is the one funding the universities. So that's where the difference lies. Most of UK universities are not government funded.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not.
Very limited, though, very limited. Mostly it's the UK universities are dependent on Chinese and Indian and Nigerian students and postgraduates. That's the sad thing. And when I was at Loughborough almost 20 years ago, I said it takes only one generation for Chinese and eventually the Indian countries had to have built not just their universities, but also the reputation to be on the rankings and business and management now. I refer to business management because, of course, that during communism and socialism, when it was more closed in China, was different to now. And then they won't need to send as many students to the UK and other countries to get valuable degrees and costly degrees. And after currency crisis, COVID, and other crises, people are more discerning on whether it's worthwhile actually as an investment to go there abroad.
Yeah.
But Joanna was raising her hand, and
so it was just picking up on one of your earlier comments, James, about there's different types of research and rich learning, aren't there? It's not just about the research informed teaching, but it can be around case study development, it can be around dissertation supervision and the way in which we teach our students to embed research within their own learning. And there's lots of ways of looking at research and rich learning. or research enriched teaching that can give us a broader picture of what's going on. But sadly, we're heading towards REF. The run on to REF now is become with a vengeance. And although REF is changing for the next round to be more impact oriented than it has been previously, it's still going to try and separate out the wheat from the chaff. And I think my last point is, unfortunately, and you know, Suniti, your new school now is embodying this way of thinking, that if a person isn't active with their research, then you take their hours off them. Just give them more teaching. You've got to evidence more that you're actually doing something with the hours that you get and not squandering them. So this blanket given 200 hours, which we had for research, even if it's research to inform our teaching, whether it's you know, pure research or teaching based research like case studies and the things you were describing, it's a use it or lose it mentality now. And that's definitely moving towards the thin end of the wedge, and needs to be, you know, all the more reason why we need our conversations to keep going, and so we can evidence the ways in which we're gathering our data to support teaching. Because I don't think they're interested, unless it's a 4-star publication, they're not going to be interested in the type of pure research that we're producing if it isn't of a 3 or 4-star quality. And how many of us are going to, you know, we can't all do 4-star publications, can we? And so it's about finding other ways, isn't it?
I don't know how we're gonna. Sorry, I was going to say, that is definitely going to be a challenge, because I can see hours going up already on teaching, Joan. So I think, gosh, this is going to just be doing our own papers at weekends and evenings again, I guess. But it has to be done, guys.
It has to be done. It's a personal development thing, as far as I'm concerned. It has to be done, because if you want them to give you research hours, you have to justify it with the 4-star publications. So if you don't, then they take that away from you as well. So to be in CBIS, for instance, you have to show, they give you a target, how many publications a year and in which kind of journal. And that is also going to be used for your progression. So if you don't meet those targets, then you are under a lot of pressure if you're unable to meet those targets. So either way, we still have to do research. Either way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we do have the gentlemen. So in my final notes, we have got some people now doing our website. They're doing a lot of overhauling on the website. We need to get the website standard. We did say that we want to mentor, do some mentorship for early career researchers and all that, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of functionalities that the website don't currently have that they are working on now. So hopefully we'll be able to present the complete website soon. And they're doing it for free. So I'm glad that we got that sorted, and they seem to be very good and very competent in what they're doing. So thank you to everyone who has contributed in that discussion to get us to where we are now. And the last thing, again, please push our YouTube page. Give us videos. If you have videos, let us upload. It is our page. It's for the women. I didn't put the page as Bridget's page channel because it belongs to this group. Okay, so let's do everything to promote it. I've thought of the kind of web channel will be. It's an educational channel. It's not a lifestyle channel. So it's meant to promote our research. So if you're doing any research on the side and you have anything to talk about the research, record it and send it so that we can put it out there and grow that channel, so that very soon we can be able to support our researchers to go to conferences and all that, to go and present their research. So thank you again, everyone. Any more contributions before we disperse for the weekend? Our next webinar, before we go, our next webinar is Meet the Editors. So we're bringing some editors from different journals, including GWO, to come and talk to us about what it takes to publish in their journal and what they're looking for. The date that has been agreed with all the editors so far is the 6th of September. So we're not having any webinar in August, unfortunately, because we have to go with their time. Most of them are on holidays. So we have agreed for 6th of September. So there will be 6 editors from 6 different journals. It's going to be a different format from what we've been having before. So we'll let them do presentation and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So it's not us asking them questions this time. It's them presenting from each of their journals what it takes. And then we'll open the floor up for questions. Okay.
That's great. Really well done.
Thank you. So Tolu, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I said we need to finalize the meeting date for the religious entrepreneurship paper.
Yes, I'll put a poll on WhatsApp group now. So choose a date. So any date, the most popular date, and then I'll send the meeting invite.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? If you have any ideas, yeah, Mary?
I'm just thanking you for that beautiful idea of inviting editors to come and speak to us. Very good to expose us to how to work on our papers moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very noble idea.
You're welcome. Yes. Any more questions? Yeah.
I was going to say that I've looked on seeing on LinkedIn, there are a number of opportunities at the moment for people who are doing early career, mid-career writing workshops. And I don't know whether everybody sees those, but there seem to be good opportunities for people to submit working papers and get some support. And GWO are doing it, aren't they? They've got a call out at the moment. And I've seen a couple of others. I'll troll back through and see if I can find them. And they'd be good things to be posting. I keep forwarding them. So I keep, you know, sort of reposting them. But if not everybody's, you know, connected through our LinkedIn page, you won't necessarily see them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can post on our LinkedIn page. So just go in there and post there.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.